Chronicles of the Grim Reaper, Where Endings Begin, by Griz Calderon. Beneath the sun-baked sands of Seville, under the roar of the Grand Plaza de Toros, the air was thick with the scent of dust, hay, and sweat. The stone walls of the holding pens below the arena were rough and cool, and shafts of sunlight slanted through narrow vents high on the walls, streaking the shadows with golden lines. There, in the shadows, bulls stood silently, their powerful bodies rippling beneath taut hides of black and chestnut. Among them stood Gerardo. Still young but growing fast, Gerardo had the broad chest of a leader and horns beginning to curl like his father's. He had watched his father for years, mimicking his stance, mimicking the way he stomped a hoof before a charge, how he turned with dignity even in confinement. His father was legendary, a bull whose mere breath seemed to shake the ground. But even legends walked through those doors. Gerardo had seen it many times, the arena doors opening, sunlight blinding, the sound of cheers swelling, and then the silence. Bulls went out. They didn't return. They were wheeled back in, cold and still, followed always by a figure cloaked in shadows. He didn't understand it then, not fully, but he had asked, "Where do they go, Papa?" His father had looked at him with deep, unreadable eyes. Sometimes, a new beginning waits on the other side of an ending, but it takes courage to reach it. Years passed. Gerardo grew strong, muscles firm beneath his hide, legs like tree trunks that stamped and scraped at the ground. He had become what his parents had hoped: fearless, proud, honorable. But the truth of the arena never softened. Each week brought another soul to its end. And each time, Gerardo felt the sting in his chest like it was his own hide being pierced. He hated the matador, the way the crowd roared for him, the way he waved his red cloth like a mockery, the way he always left, and the bull never did. But this time, it was personal. It was his father's time. Gerardo's hooves shuffled restlessly in the straw. The heavy clank of metal doors echoed from above. Hoofbeats, chains, and then his father stood before him, quiet, regal, his eyes calm. "I don't want you to go," Gerardo said, chest tight. His father stepped close, nuzzling him once behind the ear. "This is my path. One day, you'll walk yours, but not today." A shadow moved at the edge of the corridor. The Grim Reaper stood still as stone. Cloaked in darkness, his long, flowing robe whispered against the ground, and his scythe, elegant and curved, gleamed in the low light. He said nothing. He only watched. His father turned toward the light. He paused. With a slow breath, he dug his hoof into the dirt, kicking it backward. The soft puff of dust rose into the air. Then he looked back at Gerardo one last time. "I will always be proud of you." The doors opened. Sunlight burst through the cracks like a flare. The crowd roared, "Muerte! Muerte! Muerte! Muerte!" And then his father walked into the light. The noise outside swelled, clapping, stomping, cheers that shook the walls. Gerardo flinched with every shift in tone. He could hear the blades slice the air, the scrape of hooves, the dull thud of contact. And then, the chant. Louder, fiercer. "Muerte! Muerte! Muerte!" The final blow was met with a thunderous cheer that never seemed to end. The doors opened again. Gerardo stood at the end of a solemn line of bulls, silent, waiting. The body came first, majestic even in stillness, draped in blood and dust. The wheels creaked. As he passed, each bull bowed their head, lowered a hoof to the dirt, and stood tall again, one by one, in reverence, in grief. Behind him walked the reaper, and beside the reaper was the soul of his father, proud, at peace. When they reached the end, Gerardo didn't bow. He looked into his father's soul, eyes brimming with unfallen tears. "I will not die for their cheers," he whispered. The reaper paused. He said nothing, but Gerardo felt it, a pressure in his chest, a warmth behind his heart. Peace, strength, honor. And then they were gone. The arena doors closed once more, but something had changed. Something had begun. The end.